Welcome everybody to a brand new video. This is something that I've never done before. I'm going to do a versus video. Xbox 360 versus PlayStation 3 in 2024. This isn't about maybe which one was better back in the day. This is about which one is going to be better for you right now. I get this question all the time. Ideally, people should have both consoles, in my opinion. I know I do. Multiple consoles, multiple 360s, multiple PlayStation 3s, just in case. But I thought it'd be fun to put together a video comparing the two, and hopefully you guys can enjoy it, because I think it's going to be a very well done video, and I love hearing your guys' feedback. Hey, if you enjoy the content that I'm doing, please leave a like and subscribe. I would appreciate that as well. Let's go ahead and get into the video. You know, they say nostalgia is a heck of a drug, and I tend to agree. I play my Xbox 360 even in 2024. I play my PlayStation 3 in 2024. I love both consoles. I collect for both consoles. Clearly, though, people often ask which one is better to collect for right now, and we're going to go over some criteria for this. I think that it really comes down to what each person likes personally on that type of level, maybe which games speak to you. Largely, they share the same library of games. Of course, there's the exclusive games and some of the features and things like that that people are going to have to kind of look into. So hopefully, I can guide everybody along the way, and this will be an informative video that everybody can enjoy, man. I can tell you what, I've been part of Xbox 360 since day one. I got a PS3 day one. I think this is going to be just a video that a lot of people can kind of enjoy and understand where I'm coming from, just as a person that likes to collect and play video games. So obviously the thing that maybe attracts people to a certain console would be the exclusive games. Both Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 had a plethora of exclusive games, although not all of them were exclusive the way that we look at it today. Some of them were on PC, or maybe some of them have since gone to other platforms, but at the time, these were real drawing points. So I'm going to maybe go over a few that you could pick up and play, and hopefully you guys agree with me that these are pretty good choices to play if you're playing a 360 or a PlayStation 3 in 2024, which I absolutely highly recommend. I'm not saying that this current generation is awful, but I will say I do spend a lot of time playing the older systems because those games have a timeless feel to them, and I think, you know, it's kind of a good place to start off with some great exclusives. On the Xbox 360 side, there's of course a lot to choose from, but I think it starts and stops with Halo. Halo is obviously the bread and butter on the Xbox 360. What you're looking at here is Halo Reach, which is maybe perhaps the finest story ever told in the Halo franchise. Really heart-wrenching stuff to be seen there. You have to experience it for yourself to understand fully where I'm coming from. But on the Xbox 360, they have Halo 3, Halo 4, Halo Reach, Halo 3 ODST, and Halo 1 CE Anniversary. So there's a lot of Halo games to unpack on the Xbox 360, and they're all pretty fun if you ask me. Definitely a huge reason to pick up an Xbox 360. Even in 2024, you must be playing Halo. Obviously, Halo isn't the only great game on the Xbox 360. I love racing games, and a game that helped me fall in love with arcade racing games is Forza Horizon. I still look at Forza Horizon as perhaps the best racing game of all time. It's the game that I've put the most amount of time in my entire life in terms of a racing game, and there's just something fun about it. It's different. Yes, there's other Forza Horizon games that are out now that maybe look better, and yes, I love the Hot Wheels Forza Horizon and things like that, but with this one, the way you have to work yourself up from the back of the pack, the way that you can kind of interact, the way that there's more of a story, I really enjoyed that aspect of it and sort of wish that they would bring it back. But great racing games are plentiful on the Xbox 360. You know, you have Forza Horizon, you have Forza Motorsport 2, Forza Motorsport 3, Forza Motorsport 4. You even have some of the other racing games as well. Of course, the Need for Speed games, those aren't exclusive, but, you know, Project Gotham Racing for is also exclusive and on the 360. You can't really go wrong. Even when you look at the 360 and why did somebody pick up a 360? Well, I can tell you why I picked up an Xbox 360. I saw a guy named Cliffy B, who's a designer at Epic Games, or it was at the time, and he was playing Gears of War on the Xbox 360 on a show called G4 TV, and I knew that I had to have an Xbox 360. Now, Gears of War 2 is what you're looking at right here. Fantastic game, absolutely incredible. It still holds up a lot today. So Gears of War franchise is one that I highly recommend if you're picking up an Xbox 360 even in 2024. A fun fact is you can play Gears of War 1, 2, 3, and even though it doesn't get much love, I think Gears of War Judgment is a well done game, and I think that it's a lot of fun. It's different. They try to do something different with the multiplayer, but from a campaign standpoint, I still think it's a lot of fun and offers a lot of cool things. Now, I've shown you, sort of a first-person shooter, a racing game, a third-person shooter, but what about RPGs? Was there any exclusive RPGs? Well, I'm happy to say that, yeah, the Fable games are one of my all-time favorites, and I think Fable 2 is absolutely incredible, but I also love Fable 3. I know it's maybe not looked at in the same light as the second Fable, but to me, I absolutely loved how fun this game was. I love that you had choices to make, and your choices really affected what happens in the town, what happens in the game, if you beat the game. There's a lot of things to kind of unpack there. Absolutely great exclusives to be had on the Xbox 360, and I still think they hold up today and look great today, even in 2024. Now, PlayStation 3 is no slouch in the exclusive department either. They've had some really, really good ones, and off of note, just key exclusives, I think God of War 3 is probably one of the better ones. This is about the time where the PlayStation 3, some of the negativity started to ebb away a little bit, and people started to realize it was a really solid platform. I think for me, God of War 3 is a fantastic game. They also did God of War Ascension, which felt a little bit more like DLC, but I enjoyed that one as well. But overall, I feel like God of War 3 really nailed what the PlayStation 3 could do. When we saw that at E3 that year, I thought it was just a phenomenal looking game, and it did not disappoint. I've played this game numerous times. I've played the remaster. I love this game. I think that it's so well put together, such a visceral, dark story, and this was at a time where I think you could get away with a lot more. Kratos was a little bit more bad to the bone, so to speak, and I think that really showcases. I love the new God of War series as well, with the update coming in 2018 with the new version, but that's a little bit softer Kratos in my opinion. So you have stuff like God of War, but I think more importantly, like one of the reasons I bought a PlayStation 3 was for Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots. That's right, I was a huge Metal Gear Solid fan, and having an exclusive Metal Gear Solid game, thanks to some of the technology of the PlayStation 3, basically they could fit this stuff on a Blu-ray, not a DVD, and so that's where some of the exclusivity came from. It wasn't that Sony signed them to some exclusive deal, it was the fact that it wasn't really capable of running on the Xbox 360. So again, this really kind of showcased what they do, and such a great game. You don't really see this anymore. Who knows if we'll ever see another proper game in this series again, but this is one of the best that there was, and it's such a good game to go back to. And even now, it's tied to the PlayStation 3 exclusively. Like, I guess they're emulators or whatever, but I mean, physically, if you want to play this game, you need a PlayStation 3. So it's kind of weird to kind of say that. And again, they had so many great games outside of even this series, one of them being the Resistance series. They put out 3 Resistance games. It's such a shame that we haven't seen anything since then. But looking at like Resistance 2 here, it's just such a phenomenal series. It's such a great story, and Insomniac Games did such a good thing. I can understand why they're kind of locked into doing the Spider-Man stuff right now, but I hope that they revisit the Resistance series one day, because this was a fantastic series all of their own IP, and I think that says something about the imagination of the studio itself. Like, this was such a really, really good franchise to kind of get lost into, and such an imaginative one with an alternate take in history. I love that about it. So I thought it's such a good franchise. Sucks that we haven't seen more of it, but it is great to see. And again, Sony had a little bit of everything as well. They had some odd ones, some different ones, some different types of games and things like that. If you want to look at it, they also had really good racing games. You know, they had at the time the MotorStorm games, which were fantastic. Of course, they have Gran Turismo. Everybody knows about that, but I really enjoyed the MotorStorm games, and just having something that's a little bit more in the arcade, a little bit easier to play, I feel like is a huge bonus along the way. So both have top tier exclusives and games that I feel like make purchasing the platforms worthwhile, even in 2024. You know, and like I said, when you see stuff like MotorStorm, looks awesome, plays awesome. You see stuff like Forza Horizon, looks awesome, plays awesome. It's sort of a toss up because it really just depends on the type of gamer you are. And obviously, there's a lot of games that I have left out right now, or that, you know, I just wanted to talk about a few for right now. We're going to get deeper into this, but it is crazy to think that, you know, Microsoft and Sony were so alike in so many different ways during that generation, but both have a tremendous amount of exclusives that were exclusive at the time, maybe not anymore, that make it worthwhile. But in 2024, these games are still great reasons to own these platforms. Now, that's not to say that everywhere that Microsoft and Sony competed was a great thing or a great idea. And I think a key example of this would be the Kinect versus the PlayStation Move. Now, it's easy to sit there and kind of maybe choose sides on this. I had both. I thought they were okay. I just feel like when hardcore gaming companies try to go after a casual market, it never really ends well. So, you know, there's games on the Move that I like a lot. You know, I really thought Sorcery was a good game. Being able to play some of the stuff like even Resistance or SOCOM was really cool. But I also like some of the games and some of the casual natures of Kinect. You know, I enjoyed some of that as well, but I still think it was a misstep when you look deeper into it and you see that, you know, some of the games made for Kinect actually took away from some of the more hardcore games, and there was a list of games that actually were canceled on the Xbox 360 so that they could make games on Kinect. So I was never like a huge fan of the motion controller gimmicky controls like this. So obviously it was kind of a misstep for both, in my opinion. Sony was managed to kind of repurpose the Move controllers and make their PlayStation VR for the PS4. So I thought that worked out well for them. Kinect 2 on the Xbox One, while it did work better, I still felt like it was something that wasn't necessarily for everybody, and to try to force everybody into it was a wrong move. So, you know, the gimmicks were there. I just feel like they weren't great ideas to begin with. So it's really kind of a toss-up there. They can be fun. There can be some nostalgia there, but I don't take either of them as a way or a reason to own one platform over the other in 2024. There's a lot of niche titles out there as well. There's hidden gems. There's all kinds of really cool games that both of these consoles have, even in 2024. So I think it's worthwhile maybe owning both. At the end of the day, you know, you can have stuff like Blue Dragon or Ninja Blade on the Xbox 360, where you could have really cool stuff like Heavenly Sword or Little Big Planet on the PlayStation 3, and it all comes down to personal taste. I just think that, honestly, great games are great games, and in 2024, both platforms have a plethora of really solid and fun games to play. And, you know, it's something that probably, you know, everybody wants there to be a war. Everybody wants it to be a knockdown, drag-out fight. I just don't necessarily see it that way as someone who collects for both the PlayStation 3 as well as the Xbox 360. They both have some truly phenomenal games, and, you know, I think when we kind of compare some of the more niche titles, it becomes more evident than other times that, you know, both of them are different, but kind of the same as well. One of the places where I feel like the Xbox 360 can outshine the PlayStation 3 is I feel like the arcade games are something that give them a little bit of an edge. Now, this is something that certainly gave the 360 an edge back in the day. You know, you had stuff like 1 vs 100, Doritos Crash Course. There was just really a good amount of fun arcade games. I thought they did a good job of bringing that to the forefront. That's not to say that the PlayStation 3 didn't have good arcade games. I just felt like the Xbox 360 had some of the better ones, the more interactive ones, and, you know, that's fine. That's strictly opinion based. And, you know, one of the things that we're about to lose is a lot of those arcade games are going away forever when the store closes on the Xbox 360. So if I'm comparing things right now in 2024, the store on the 360 is going to close. I'm sure the store on the PS3 will close at some point, but there's also the situation that we're facing with the use of the stores, and the PS3 store is still fully functional. I have so much problem using the 360 store right now. It kicks me offline. It says there's an issue, that it can't load something, and I never have that issue on the PlayStation store on the PS3. So, again, take that into your consideration if you're looking to pick up one or the other in 2024. I wanted to talk a little bit about the multiplayer aspects of these games right now, because clearly this is where there is a little bit of a discrepancy. So on the Xbox 360 side, Microsoft, who owns Activision, they fixed the servers for the old Call of Duty games, and so they're also backwards compatible on the newer Xbox hardware, like the Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, and even Xbox One, whereas those same Call of Duty games aren't backwards compatible on the PlayStation 5. So you really have to play them on Xbox. So they're very active still, right? If you wanted to find a game in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 on Xbox 360, you can. If you want to find a game on Black Ops 2 on Xbox 360, you can. On the PlayStation 3, obviously, probably not so much, at least not that I could find. I found multiplayer games on Left 4 Dead 2 as well on the Xbox 360. Clearly, there is still some kind of multiplayer presence there. That's not to say that there's no multiplayer presence on the PS3, just I had trouble finding them on the games that I attempted to play. So you have to keep that in mind going forward. I think due to backwards compatibility, that it really kind of gives Xbox 360 an edge if you're looking to play something multiplayer-wise. Although your choices are probably still limited, thanks to backwards compatibility, there is still some life there. Speaking of backwards compatibility, that's pretty much where we're going to end the video, because the Xbox 360, you have to realize a good majority of the games that you have, whether it be digitally for the next, which you're going to be able to buy for the next little bit, or, physically, a lot of these games, as you go into the future, maybe you buy an Xbox Series X and you want to play them, you're going to be able to play them, and you're going to be able to play them better on the Xbox Series X. You play stuff like, The Witcher 2, which is a console exclusive to Xbox at this particular time, and it's like 4K on the Xbox Series X and looks gorgeous. A lot of the games are going to go with you and be backwards compatible. Maybe that's a great reason to buy an Xbox 360, or maybe it's a reason to buy a PS3, because that's where you can only play some of those games. I think that's where we're at with this video. Like, it doesn't really matter which one you pick. Price wise, both are going to cost you about the same amount used or whatever. You can't get them new. You have to, if in my opinion, you're going to want to watch out and not buy an original Xbox 360, because those tend to red ring. Maybe buy a slim forward. When it comes to PlayStation 3, the launch PS3s are backwards compatible. Some of them are, some of them aren't. One of them is software emulation backwards compatible. Those are the better ones, to my opinion anyway. And a lot of those had issues similar to Red Ring of Death, though. So if you're looking to just play PlayStation 3 games, I always say the first Slim. A lot of people like the Super Slim because there's no mechanical parts with the door and things like that. I really enjoy the first model of Slim for the PlayStation 3. But both consoles are fantastic, have great libraries of games, even in 2024. So it really comes down to you. Which one would you consider picking up in 2024? If you had to choose. So please let me know down below, and thank you all so much for watching. It means a lot to me if you would consider subscribing and doing all that kind of cool stuff. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and remember to have a good time gaming. I'll catch you next time.